What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Real Moves podcast. I am Jonathan Gonzalez here with...
I'm Jeff Luna.
And today we have Mr. Joseph Ovalle of Ovalle Golf Performance here. Welcome to the podcast,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you, guys.
Coyote Hills in the building.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you here, man. For those of anybody out there who doesn't know who you are, what you do, tell us a little bit about that. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
So right now I am out of Fullerton, California. So like I said, not too far from here. I am a golf professional. I coach golf, and then I also, on top of that, help with kind of performance coaching. So people who want to reach their level or potential in golf, but I also will train them, whether it be with like diets, workouts, rehab. So I get students who, of any age, kind of either have surgeries they're dealing with, like limitations and things like that. Because of my background and the things I've studied, I can kind of help them with whatever path they want to go, whether it's, again, kind of, like I said, they've had surgeries, they can no longer do certain things. I can help them kind of tweak their swing to get them playing better golf and be pain-free. And then I have a lot of little kids who want to play Division I golf or the aspirations of playing professionally. And so we get them kind of on a track and just on a schedule and regimen to set them up to like best succeed for that. And then most of my clients are just regular golfers who just want to be better. So
nice.
That's pretty much what I do every day. So
Awesome. How long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing this since 2015, so just about 8 years now. So
Nice.
It's a lot longer than I thought now that I just said
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
But have you been playing golf your whole life, or is it?
I've been playing since I was 8 is when I first got introduced to golf. So it's been 23 years now I've been playing. So I started just kind of lightly. My dad took me one time to the range because he only played like twice a year, and he was going to go like prep for playing with my uncles or something for Thanksgiving. And then he just happened to take me, and I liked it. And from there, he started taking me like once a month, every other week, weekly. And then that was something I started doing. I went back to playing baseball until I was about 14. And then I just knew that golf was the one I wanted to like focus on. And then that was kind of how that happened. Like I said, I played in high school, wanted to play professionally, played for like a very short time. I had 2 car accidents that kind of kind of put me on the sidelines for it. But the way I happened to be taught golf and like the way in which I really like enjoyed learning it really kind of set me up for that, being able to teach it. It was something I always wanted to do. I just didn't expect to do it until probably like 20 years later than I actually did. But it's fun. I enjoy it a lot. It's definitely, like, again, the only equal that I have to my passion for playing golf is like teaching it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoy what I do like every day. So it's pretty awesome.
That's
And, you know, what's crazy is, you know, when I meet certain people that are like really about like what they do, it's really cool, right? And you're one of those people like with golf, right, that helped me out a lot. Like when I remember I had at Cypress College, right, I had tryouts, you know, and my swing was like, you know, borderline, like I didn't know what I was doing type thing, you know. I was like hitting it bad. And I remember meeting you on the range and you helped me out like late at night, La Mirada, you know, and just the extra time you would spend, right? You know, so I was always appreciative of that. But moreover that, man, when I first met you, I mean, obviously you were hitting the ball amazing. Like I've never seen anyone hit the ball like that before I met you. And, but tell the people, because you went from being, you know, good player, high school, played some college, or, you know, you were playing pro. Now you're in the business, right? And what I realized is I worked in the golf business for a very long time, you know, all my younger years, since I was a freshman in high school. So we kind of worked at American Golf, and being in the business, you know, you see coaches, right? And so much bad information is out there. And it even comes from people who are looked upon as like these professionals, right? And what do you think about like, because it's like night and day, right? I mean, from what you teach to what even some YouTube guys that have these big followings, those guys aren't even that great. What do you think about being in the business now and like seeing that? Like, how does that?
So yeah, pretty much what you're saying is like spot on. Everybody wants, when I say everybody, not necessarily me, but most people want a big following. Like I said, they necessarily don't really care about the product they produce as far as results or like it, like them believing in it or knowing that it is factually true or like, again, evidence-based as far as like the results they get, as long as they get some type of income or clientele from it. So,
Yeah.
like I said, and that's kind of a general theme I see like really since I started teaching is, like I said, anytime what comes out is new information or like the new swing secret or whatever, everyone loves to hop on it. Anytime you see one tip blow up on Instagram, you'll see 50 other people copy that tip, and they just want the views or they want the followers.
Yeah.
But it's just a way to like entertain the people on social media. So like good instructors will be honest with people, which is, again, I am always straightforward. Is anytime someone's doing something really well, I go, hey, these are the things you're doing well. When it's not going on, these things are you're not doing. And then of course, newer students will be like, what about this? Or I saw this on YouTube, or my friend told me about this. And I go, all those draw your attention, but they're definitely not for you specifically. And there's no such thing as a secret. It's going to take me giving you the platform and understanding of what you need to do, but you are going to have to take the time and spend the time doing it. Nobody wants to be told that. It's not awesome. No one's gonna be like, oh, so you're telling me it's gonna be hard? Like I said, it's like, yeah, it's gonna be hard. It'll be easier with me, but doesn't make it easy in general. But no one wants to do that. Everyone's like, I just want to be like Tiger Woods. I'm like, he also hit 1,000 balls a day. They're like, okay, but how can I do that without doing that? And I'm like, that doesn't exist. Like I said,
you don't want to be like Tiger Woods.
No, yeah, exactly. Like I said, everyone wants to be like who they aspire to be, but they don't have the will to do the things that person has done. And so that's like a pretty common thing in life. Like I said, people are like, oh man, I want to be in this shape, but I also don't want to go to the gym. What pill can I take? It's like, it's just very much, again, a short-sighted view. And that's kind of really, like I said, what I see. So people just want to be in the now of like popularity or what's going on. They'll kind of abandon all the things that they once believed, but it really just kind of comes down to is they didn't really have a strong belief system in general. Because if things come along of like, hey, people are saying this is true, and I hear them and I go, hey, yeah, that sounds okay, but that I know for a fact is not reality what's happening there, I can just brush by it because I just know it's not true. It doesn't like intrigue me, because to me it's just wrong, like I said. And so when people don't know what's right or wrong, they just know what people are doing for the next 3 months, they just will keep hopping like one train to the other over and over, and they're literally just in this endless loop of never improving. Like I've seen that. I've been practicing and teaching I teach at Coyote Hills now. I used to practice there in high school. There's people I've seen in the last 20 years. I've been there for 20 years. They're the same now. And again, like I said, some of them are because they don't practice well. Some of them because they practice unbelievably hard, but they're practicing the wrong things. Yeah. And then, like I said, there's just so many ways to unfortunately be bad at golf still. But there are ways to improve, and it's, you just have to find yourself a good coach and someone who, like, again, kind of stands by what they believe and has results based off of it. And like I said, they'll kind of be really straightforward with you. So,
and you also pulled information from different places, right? I mean, you were not only like playing golf and like obviously your game spoke for itself, but you were doing a lot of reading, right? I mean, I remember when I first met you, I saw you at Barnes & Noble on like a Wednesday, because you told me, you said, go get Hogan's book, right? Yeah. All right, let me go get it. And I saw you there. I never told you, but I saw you there, and you were like reading some like book on, I don't know, biomechanics, I think, or something.
It was probably some type of anatomy or biomechanics.
Who does that? Like, you know?
I mean, so it's, because like I said, the golf swing can only work within the limits of our body. Like I said, the club, it's meant and designed to be hit a certain way, but at the end of the day, we have to be the ones to move it in that way. And so understanding, like, whether it be like forces or how our tissues work together, like I said, or just general like physics and, like I said, anatomy, what our body can and can't do. Like if we want the club to move in a certain way, but our body can't move in that way in a certain part of our body, what part of our body will be helping us to do that? And so, like I said, it's like anything. There's like that, like physics and anatomy are like almost in every single thing you do. Like I said, you going to the gym, learning how to squat, there's like a certain amount. Again, there's like a sequence of like your hip, your knees, and everything that, again, kind of has a tilt, or like I said, like a hinge. You're definitely not going to want to hinge from the middle of your back there. You're about to blow out all your discs, like I said. So there's certain things that you should and shouldn't do. And in other sports, it seems to be very black and white. Like, oh yeah, you definitely would not want to do that. But in golf, people are like, nah, dude, don't worry about your body. Let's just do all this. And it's it's like, I don't know how these things became opinionated on what you can and can't do, or what you should or shouldn't do. It's like, it's very obvious in other things, but golf is one of the few sports that there's more experts than there are people who can actually demonstrate how good they are. Like I said, that's like I said, it's just what it is. Like I said, and that started a long time ago. Back in the day when teachers were teachers, like Butch Harmon, they're ex-PGA Tour winners. They're ex-this. Like, they had results proven and people sought after them. They didn't have to go seek people to tell them how good they were. People just wanted to, like, look at them and be like, oh, you know what you're talking about. Can you help me learn
But, like, I
that?
tell everyone, too, it's like, okay, like, if someone's teaching the same swing to, like, all their students, right? Mm-hmm. But you turn on the TV and no one has the same swing. Mm-hmm. Why would you even listen? Like, no one's gonna have the same exact swing, right?
Oh yeah.
Now they're similar at impact, right? Mm-hmm. There's similar characteristics, right? But you cannot say that no swing is the same as someone else, right?
Yeah, and I asked my coach, like I said, like you kind of like mentioned earlier, I've spent time drawing from different sources. Like, I've spent a couple golf schools with like Mac O'Grady. I've spent, like I said, from people who learned under him. My coach, Craig Chapman, like I said, that's who I spent by far the most time with. And Dave Hutchins, like I said, is someone who learned under him for 30 plus years. Those are my two coaches, if anyone asks me. And they always told me to feel free to ask questions, like I said, and also go for myself and look up and see what's happening. So don't take their word for what they're saying, but go see and like again, whether it be I'm living it, see other people doing it. And they would always say, like, yeah, everyone's swing has little really uniqueness to them, but they're still working within the confines of how the body's supposed to work. You'll see certain things. Some people's arms will look higher and lower based on their anatomy. Like I said, Hogan's looked really flat because he had like super, super long arms. And like I said, like really long legs and a short torso. So you'd have to bend over very much for his arms to reach the club. So he could literally just swing around his body pretty easily. So my body is not built like that. And so my swing looks more upright. But if you look at our left arm to our shoulder plane, they're both right on it. So to like the naked eye, they just look completely different. But again, you start to break down certain things. There's a lot of similarities.
I'm super fascinated by that. I think like you touched on it earlier too, by squatting. Like, I squat when I go to the gym. Me and my gym partner have two different squat stances, right? Mm-hmm. I have a short torso and really long legs, and he has a longer torso and short legs. Mm-hmm. So my stance is super wide. His stance is like a little bit more narrow. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, like you're mentioning, it's the same with golf. You know, if you put Jeff and I side by side, our swings, if we swung as perfect as we possibly could, are probably not going to be identical at all.
Oh, right? For sure. That's a big thing. And that's again, kind of why I spend a lot of time, like, really just trying to read up on, like, whether it be tissues, like anatomy of the bone structure. Because again, they talk about it a lot. Like I said, I love nutritional and exercise science. That's something that goes along very well with what I do, and I am able to utilize that to help my students improve a lot in different ways. Because if you can't control your body or your mind on a daily basis, trying to control a golf club, a ball, and your emotions under pressure in a tournament, not going to happen. So there's just like a very well-rounded person that needs to be had to, like, again, have success in golf. And so I feel like I'm trying to always do my best to learn. Like, I've never had a day where I've just not wanted to, like, know something that I didn't know as well the day before. Like I said, and like I said, your hip sockets, kind of like what you were talking about, is some people are born with ones that are facing certain directions. So like their hip might be facing more out, which is why that person might have a wider stance. Someone might have them facing more in and down, which is why they're very narrowed. Torso length has a big effect. There's people who look like they're literally, like, again, like good morning during a squat, but it's because they got that real long torso. And like I said, there's just difference, like I said, in all those. But at the end of the day, you're going to be hinging from your knees, your ankles, your hips. You're going to be having some forward bend. The bar is going to be somewhere placed on your back. So there are similarities in those things, but there's always going to be, like, the case of differences. Like, learning to be able to decipher what's a true fundamental and what's just going to be slightly different. I guess that's kind of always the debate in golf. So
what I like about what you teach is something you touched on too, is that I think the word in your business name, right, performance, actually means something, right? When there's other coaches out there who just take some, like, trend and run with it and try and teach it to their students, whatever it is. They're not so concerned for how their students are actually performing. It's like, okay, you showed up, $150 for the hour. Thank you. Have a good day. Like, we'll see you next time.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah. And that's,
you give a shit about performance, it seems like.
Yeah. I care a lot about how my students really, like I said, understand what I'm trying to teach them. Like, I never want them to feel like, hey, I'm giving you the information, you do what you want with it. Like I said, if you, like, don't understand it, that's kind of on you thing. Like I said, like, when I first started teaching and I was helping Jeff and other people, yeah, my girlfriend at the time, she'd be like, you said you were done at 7. And it's like 8:15. I'm like, I'll be right there. I was like, I said, like, it's just like, and like I said, yeah, I'd get me in trouble, but it's because I truly want you guys to get better. Like, my coach would always tell me, he goes, my job one day is to teach you to teach yourself, so you don't need me anymore. Like, if you always need me in 20 years, I didn't do my job, because the information never got from me to you, and you never understood it. And so if I can get you guys to grasp it in like a whole, really like in a whole sense, to where you guys can go, okay, when this happens, he said to check this area. Okay, this specifically took place. I know where to look. Versus, honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna go type in YouTube like how to stop my slice. Like I said, it's like that's just not the way to go. And so, I don't know how to do anything else. Like, I don't know how to do things another way. Like, I'm very obsessive as a person. So like I said, I recently, got kind of off the injured list and been able to kind of get back in shape, and that's just how I've been, like I said. And so now I run 5 miles like a day, and that's,
I saw that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so like I said, I'm trying to just get up to 10, and people are like, for what? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to be a slow runner, and I don't want to be someone who can't run a lot for no reason. But like I said, I want to be always the top tier of whatever it is there. Cause I feel like, I don't know who doesn't want to be the best at what they're doing. I've never done anything, but like, I just want to be real okay.
I want to be mediocre.
Yeah. I've never I just want to step up there and be, there's so many people above me. Like, nobody ever. And so golf, that's always like really sat with me like that. Like, I've always wanted to learn and be the most objective student of the game I could. So I didn't go into a lesson with, okay, so these are my problems, and then tell the coach what you think your issue is. Like, that's such a common thing. It's so weird that people are like, okay, so this is what I do. I'm like, why are you here? If you know what you're doing, you wouldn't be here, like I said. And so I always have to tell them, like, clearly it's not all that. Like I said, it's like, we'll say what I'm here to give you, you came here for a reason. And so learning how to just have a very clear mind in what you're doing and just take information for what it is that's a skill in itself. People need to learn how to be like better students. So.
And you, like, it's been a journey, right, to get to where you're at. And by the way, I always knew, like, deep down, I'm like, dude, this guy's going to be like top coach, like, in the area. But it was a journey, right? When you first started, right? Started off at La Mirada, right? Yeah. Everyone knows who's in the golf business. Like, you start off in the shop, or you start off outside in the shop, give some lessons, and then one day, hopefully, you branch off and you know, be in management, or you become like a full-time instructor. So for you, how was it, you know, transitioning, right, from like, you know, practicing a lot, and now you're teaching golf? It wasn't an easy journey, right? I mean, it took time to get to where you're at.
No, exactly. Like I said, it's I got injured, and me being me, I wasn't going to be like, oh, I'm just not going to work. So I was like, okay, I got to do something. So I applied at La Mirada, went from playing golf, playing tournaments at a pretty high level, to taking out the beer cans and throwing them in trash cans. Like I said, it's just like I said, you do what you got to do. And like I said, that's something that, again, another thing that I touched on, people don't want to do the hard work. Like I said, they see where I'm at now, and they're like, oh man, you teach full time. You have students that sometimes you don't even have space for. And I'm like, yeah, but I was also air blowing that card out. Like I said, plug them into the chargers. I used to open at La Mirada 6 days a week. So I'd be there in the summer at 4:30. And I don't know how to sleep early till this day. So I'm not going off a lot of sleep, but I wasn't going to not show up for my shifts. I had things to do. And so, it went from, again, kind of on the upward trend of reaching where I'd hoped I'd be, to like kind of just a clear fall off because of my injuries. And then, cart guy, went from a cart guy, saw 2 kids that were always working hard, and they're still my students till this day. Brian actually just finished college. He's going to go to nursing school. He played for Cal State San Bernardino his last year. And then his brother, Sean, he plays for a Division I school, Lafayette in Pennsylvania. They were my 2 first students. They were in 8th grade and 6th grade, I think, like I said, when they started. And I would just see them with, again, their coach at the time used to work there, and I could see how hard the kids were working, but I could tell they were just not quite getting to where I just felt like they should be, especially with these kids that really, I could tell, wanted to practice, weren't lazy, were there every day. Their parents were always there with them, like supporting them, not nagging them, but just dropping them off, wanting them to do well. And they just, like I said, I just felt like I could have helped them out. And so at the time, I was in between pouring golf balls in the range machine. I was like, hey, you might want to check that left-hand grip. Like I said. And so I just started giving them a little help, and then they would like, oh man, I did what you said. And I finished top 10 in a tournament, and that's like the first time I ever did that. And I was like, that's awesome, man. I'm glad it helped. I didn't think it wouldn't, but I said, I'm glad you listened though. And like I said, kind of just trusting some random guy at the range, like I said, that happened to work at the course you taught. And then I went to the shop, and then I started helping them, and then other people started to ask, and I was unofficially teaching at the time. And like I said, the manager at the time kind of saw the potential, or like knew people who knew me as a player. And so I think he saw the potential for both of us to help each other out. Like I could bring business to the course and he could, again, give me the opportunity to teach. And so it started with literally those two people. And then it just, from there, just 8 years later, now I have like full time. Yeah, I just kind of took off. And I've switched courses, like I said, quite a few times just to try to kind of help my way get to a course that just kind of more fits the ability to help my students with the needs that they have. So like Coyote Hills right now is a very, very, very nice course. Range is super popular. It's really busy, really well lighted. The putting greens are, like I said, really nice and big. And then the course is a pretty solid challenge off the tee box and just approach shots. So it's somewhere that I was always trying to work my way towards, to where I could help my better players and just really anybody with anything they would need. And so I've went from La Mirada to Westridge to, for a year, the year I transitioned to full-time teaching instead of working for the course as well as teaching, I went to a range down the street called Golfer's Paradise.
Yep.
And so that one,
Is that Fullerton?
Yeah.
Fullerton,
it's an interesting place to say the least. So like I said,
the balls go left and right at the same time. It's
Did
crazy.
you hit that double curve? Like I said, the purest double curve you ever hit. Like I said, that one was probably the most downward trend I had, just because again I was at a course, but again I knew I wanted to transition to full time, and just where I was teaching, I had worked 6 days a week there for years, and they wanted me to stay on that, and so they kind of gave me the ultimatum of like, hey, you can stay and work 6 days a week and try to grow your business, which I was like, this is going to be really difficult, or you can leave. And so I was like, I just have trust in that, like my ability to help people, and so I left and I went to that range, and like I said, one of the owners there, Paul, gave me the opportunity to teach there for a year, and it gave me just enough time to kind of build some more clientele. And then Coyote Hills kind of set me on the track that I'm now currently on. I'm just in front of the right group of people. Like I said, there's a course there, people are playing.
0 ad spend, by the way. Literally just hitting
word
balls.
of mouth.
I mean,
school.
you just look at them, like hit balls on the range, and
that's
people
a big
throw money at them.
I need to hit more balls.
What I love about the story is, though, like you said, 8 years of doing this shit, of working 6 days a week, sometimes probably 7, late nights, long hours. Like nobody sees that shit, right? They see you, a good golfer, have a good business as a coach, like very successful, can't even squeeze in an extra guy if you wanted to. And they're like, damn, I want what you have. It's like, okay, are you willing to put in those 8 years or whatever? Like,
Yeah, no, and it seems, like I said, and it does when you don't know the person personally. Like I said, I've known Jeff for a long time, like I said, and he's literally seen from pretty much when I first started teaching. To most people now, because I'm 31 years old, I'm not like super old or anything like that. They're like, wow, this guy, like, just, I want to be 31, charging what he charges and working full time, like. It's like, yeah, like so did I 8 years ago. Like I said, it's just, it took time, but everything seems overnight when you're not there to witness the person put in work. And even till this day, like I said, right now, I have my schedule set up to where I like to work anywhere from right now about 32 to 40 hours, depending on the week. But I work every day because it fits my schedule the best. I get to work out. I get to go do what I need to do. And then I have 5 or 6 hours of the day to where I teach. So right now I still work every day. Like I don't have days off, but I've set it up to where it's a little bit more lax, where I still get to can take care of myself and just get back to where I want to be. And it took a long time to be able to set that schedule. Before someone's like, I want to listen at 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. I'll be like, I'm there. Like I said, so I'm like, I'll go to the course, I'll go home, I'll run back. Do you have a lesson in 30 minutes? Yes, I do. And I was like, I guess I'll run back to the course. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, hey, I'm booked up for the day, and I don't have any time outside that window. But before it was literally someone's like, hey, I'm at the range, are you here? And I'm just like, live 10 minutes down the street. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm in the shop, I'll be right there. And I'll just drive from my house, go right there, so I don't make them feel bad, like I said. And I'm willing to take whatever work I could get and just do what I can. And a lot of those lessons, they started at $40 for an hour, and they ended up being 2-hour lessons, so it was $20 an hour. I was like, I could have. I
feel that 1,000%. Like sometimes you look back, you're like, damn, I kind of lost money, right? Even spending gas money or whatever.
Oh, for sure.
Might have your time and everything, but I think it's very, very cool. It's like, it's dope to be able to make your own schedule and live on your own terms and all that stuff.
No, I definitely, it's funny. I used to think about that all the time. Like I said, there was definitely times to where the output that I got definitely wasn't worth like the input if you looked at it on paper. But as far as like again, me caring about growing my business as far as just making good students and them realizing that and that they were in good hands because I truly like cared about their improvement and was going to make time for them. And so, yeah, in the end, it ended up being worth so much more. But yeah, most people are very short term. They're like, okay, I need to do this. I need to be getting this from this. It's like, that's just not how it works sometimes. Like, that's not how it works a lot of the times, but nobody wants to be told that. It's like a prime example is I tell my student Taylor, like literally I used to tell her this. She goes, I have tryouts in a month. And I'm like, you should have come to me 2 years ago. I'm like, this is not how this is going to work. You're not going to work hard this month and then just be so good next month. I was like, all the pros that you see them killing it now, they've been doing this since they were 8. I was like, so they're 25 years old looking like they're young and successful, which they are, but looking like, wow, how are they so good at such a young age? Because they started at a way younger age. Like I said, they've been putting in this work that you're trying to catch up to them as a high schooler, and they outworked you by the time they were 9. I was like, you're not going to catch up because first of all, you're logically behind. You're also not willing to catch up because you don't want to work that hard. They already worked as hard as they could since that age, so you can't really outwork them in the first place, like I said. Yeah. And so it's just like I said, golf is one of those things you do what you do now to show it for in a couple years. Yep. Like I said, and that's nobody wants to be told that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that you're going to eat whatever diet you're on, chicken, rice, and broccoli, and you'll be buff in 2 years. They're like, I was planning on eating pizza next month already. Like I said, it's not. Nobody's like, I'm not down for that. I might as well just eat the pizza.
My flight's already booked, man. Next month, man.
I'm curious, man. You got like this mentality, right? That like, okay, it's cool to like, I'm down to put in the work for as long as I have to get that outcome that I want. Did somebody teach you that growing up? Is that just like naturally in you, or where did that come from?
I would say most of it is naturally in me, as in the aspect of I do like to like work hard. Like I was always the kid to where like, I don't know, when you're hanging out with your neighborhood friends, they're like, oh, do you want to go to go grab some food from like 7-Eleven or the 99-cent store or something like that? They're like, oh, let's go to 7-Eleven. It's like a mile away. And like the 99-cent store is like 2 miles. I'm like, dude, let's just do the 2 miles. Like everyone's like, you can go by yourself. Like I said, like nobody wants to do that. I've always liked like, oh, that seemed like a harder task. It's going to be worth more of the reward. Like I've always just thought like that. Like it's just always how I've been. It's probably worked in negative ways in my life too, where it's like, that shouldn't have been that hard, but it was so difficult. It like intrigued me to make it like even more hard than it should be. But one quote I probably repeat every single day that my dad always said, he's like, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Mm-hmm. He always used to say that. Like, and people who know my dad, he used to box at a really high level, amateur boxing. And like I said, he ended up marrying my mom and having my sister when they were 17. And so he got a career to just kind of put them in a safe spot and stuff like that. But he's a pretty scary guy to most people. We've had some funny incidences when we were taking care of my grandpa and where my parents grew up. They'd be like, Albert, is that you? And then you would think like, it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in for a while. They'll show up and be like, oh, I remember when that bully tried to pick on that kid and you had to show him what's up. Like I said, like so stuff like that. Cause my dad, again, he can definitely take care of himself, but everyone could see that, wow, like how cool is that he can fight like that. But they weren't seeing him skip rope in 4 layers of clothing in an hour in a garage with the garage closed. Like half dying because it's just literally so humid. But everyone's like, I just want to be able to fight like Mr. Miyagi and like Daniel for the Karate Kids. Like, yeah, but you also don't want to do the things that they did. And so he always used to say that, because I used to ask him, I go, man, how did you get so good at boxing? Like, why do you do this? I always used to ask him, like, why do you skip rope in the garage? I was like, that looks so hard. He goes, yeah, if it was easy, everybody would do it. He goes, that's why it's just me in here. And I was just like, dang, that's a good point. I was like, that's a good point. I was like, that's why you're better at everybody else, because you're doing things that they don't want to do. And so that always, literally that saying comes in my head like every day. Like the other day I ran 10 miles because I was like, oh, I just want to see if I can. Everyone's like, oh, what are you training for? I'm like, nothing. They're like, then why would you do that? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think because a lot of people can do, I hear people say they run 5 miles all the time. I don't really hear people say they're doing 10. And I was like, they're like, it's hard.
Just challenge yourself.
Yeah, just challenge myself. Yeah. They're like, it's hard, isn't it? I was like, yeah. And I'm like, but if it was easy, everybody would do it. That's why it was just me doing the 10 miles. I was like, yeah. And so, like I said, if you do things that people aren't willing to do, you'll also achieve things that other people will never reach. And so to me, that trade-off is such an easy choice. It's like, I really, from the example of my parents, just because my mom and her upbringing was less than ideal. And then, like I said, she chose to be the sibling that, like, again, just kind of stepped out of, like I said, whether it be cultural norms, or again, how women used to be treated a little bit different back in the day. And she was just like, oh, that's just not going to be me. My dad always respected her at like an unbelievably high level. And they were like, hey, we see the examples that are set before us, and we're not just going to follow that. We're going to be different. When a lot of people will use hard circumstances to make it as an excuse to why they can't be better, they chose as a reason to be like, oh, we're going to be even better than the average person now, even though we came from this. This is like, we're going to show you that it's possible to like not have to just stay in the crap that everyone else is like in. And so I always had very good examples in them of that, because a lot of family members and people around, they're like, oh, well, this is why I'm like this. It's like, yeah, my mom was like, had the same thing going on, and she's awesome. Like I said, my dad's also like unbelievably hardworking. I have cousins to where when they buy their first car and have like haggle for the price, they call my dad and be like, Uncle Albert, you'd be so proud I did this. Like they call my dad because of the person who he is and what he represents. Yeah. They want him to be proud of them. And like I said, and that's, not everyone has that. So I am super lucky to have them and see my dad work hard and always be a very strong representation of hard work, like a physically able man to like protect and do the right thing all the time. So I never really had to look elsewhere other than literally the people that like I was at home with every day. So that, yeah, that made it so easy. Like I said, that really is such a good example. I was talking about that with my brother. Like I said, we are lucky because there are people who have to work a little harder to go find a good example because the people in their immediate household don't quite represent that. And so for me, I knew nothing else but the right thing to do, because they were always willing to do the right thing no matter how hard it was. And so yeah, that's helped me in so many ways. As a kid, I didn't
Sounds like we found the root of your success.
yeah. Like I said, as a kid, I wasn't the biggest fan of it because my mom, I'd be like, oh, well, they're going to go do that. They'd be like, last time I checked, those aren't my kids. And I'd be like, all right, cool. I guess I'm not going, guys. Like I said, so they were always willing to be like, this is how it's going to be. No matter if it seems easy or fun or whatever, this is what you got to do sometimes. Yeah. And so for me, it was like, oh, I guess fun, easy, hard, difficult, that's not part of the equation on am I going to do this or not. And so for me, it was like, what do I want? Okay, that's what I want. What do I got to do? So it was never, is it going to be long, short term, easy, hard? It was just like, this is what you want. This is like what you got to do now. And so, yeah, that's their example definitely made it easier for me to follow in their steps there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. How would you because I feel that golf right now is rising, right? Like ever since COVID, right? It was one of the only things that you could do at the time. You're outdoors and courses were getting packed. I remember I used to work at El Dorado. You were at La Mirada.
Oh, for sure.
Tee times were like what, like $60 on the weekends. Now, dude, I mean, I have a tee time tomorrow and it's like, I think it's Lakewood that we're playing at. And I think he told me it's gonna be like $75 or something like that. It's like, damn, dude, like Lakewood,
That's wild.
I remember Lakewood was like, so I feel like golf is on the come up right now. A lot of brands are emerging. We're seeing a lot of people get into it. And it's interesting because a lot of my friends are like, oh, dude, you play golf? Yeah, like I want to learn how to play. And they think that they're just going to go to the range, go hit balls for a couple days and go play. I said, dude, you have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
I said, yeah. I said, you got to start off at like a little 9-hole, go to the range, and get a feel for it. Yeah, I said, because this is not a game. I said, we've had arguments with my friends, amongst our friends, and they all say, oh, dude, golf is like easy.
Oh, 100%. They say that.
Yeah.
Every time.
They say, I said, dude, the hardest shot in golf to hit, because you can't pass the ball to anyone. You can't say, hey, dude, I just shanked it in the water. Here, go hit the ball for me. No, like,
for sure.
It's all on you, right? So if you hit the ball bad, the hardest shot is the next one after that.
Oh, yeah. It's difficult, like I said, because that's the benefit. And there's a downside to it in team sports, but a lot of it's a positive as far as like a mental thing. Like you were saying, like I said, if someone's not having a good day that day, they pull in a relief pitcher. Like it's not like, no, dude, just keep going for the other 8 innings. Just keep going. Like it's like, no, you're going to lose this game for us. You got to get out of here. Like I said, golf, it's like, oh, you hit that first one in the water. Let's try not to hit it again in the water. Like I said, it's literally, there's no other option. Like I said, it's just you all day. And so that's kind of the bittersweet part about it. When you win, it's all you. Nobody else did anything for you. Like I said, yeah, you might have a caddy or again, obviously your coaches helped you reach that level. But at the end of the day, you have to go out there and play golf on your own. Like I said, I was watching my coach Dave give a lesson one time. And one of the kids that we just loved his swing growing up. Like I said, he had a very good swing. As far as like our achievements, I was always playing better than him. But I was like, I used to tell my coach, I'm like, I want that swing. I was like, when I get that swing, I'll be gone. I'll be so good. I used to tell him that. And then he was upset though one day that the kid that I was saying that just had an amazing swing, because he goes, Dave, how come if you say my swing is so much better, how come he beats me every time? And it was kind of in a rude way. It was kind of aggressive. And Dave's like, well, I can't go play golf for you. I can teach you how to do it, but you have to go do it yourself at the end of the day. And that's a responsibility that people don't want to have. Hence why I tried this thing. It didn't work. That's the problem. It's not me. I got to go to the next YouTube video. That YouTube guy, he sucks. Let's go find the next guy. It's never like, oh, I just jump ship on everything and it's me. I'm just trash at golf, and one day hopefully I'm not. Like I said, nobody wants to think
nobody
like that.
Nobody accepts responsibility. Yeah.
Exactly, which is where they're at. Like I said, and so.
But also the mentality. I mean, like when I first started playing, I think I enjoyed it a lot because it was mentally challenging, right?
Oh, 100%.
You see everyone hit a driver like every hole, and it's like, okay, well, dude, this hole's only like 300 yards. If I hit my drive 260 at 40 yards. 40 yards, tough shot.
Oh, I hate that. If I lay up to 40 yards, it was not on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like, it was like a lot of like math too. Like, okay, dude, like I obviously don't want to hit a driver here. I can hit a 3-wood or a hybrid, hit it 200 yards, and 100 yards is a lot easier in my opinion than
for sure.
40-yard shot.
Yeah, it's a much more stock shot.
So, growing up, and playing golf, I like that aspect of it that, you could hit a good drive, but I could be 100 yards past or behind you and still match you or even beat you on the hole, right? Hit a good approach, and because I had a better angle, or maybe I had, my wedges were more dialed in at 100-yard range, right? Mm-hmm. So I always like that aspect. Is just because someone hit the ball good or hit it, the drive far, doesn't mean that you still can't beat them, at this game.
100%. So, it's its own thing in that way of where I lucky like a couple of friends of mine that are like they're like really close friends now. They all grew up playing hockey at a really high level. So that's a very different sport. Like the way they always talk about, they're like, you just low-key got to be pissed all the time, low-key, to play hockey. Like you just got to kind of be mad because you're getting hit a lot. Like I said, it's a very aggressive game. And they're like, oh, when we would play at a national level, we go play against these kids in Canada. These kids are like 19 feet tall. These kids are just like these big old giants, like I said. And they're like, we're just like, and they're not short, but they're just like, you can't be out there just like, again, real soft-footed out there. Like you got to kind of have your own back the whole time. And so effort out there or in other sports, when you're like, oh, I'm mad, it can kind of help you push through that block or to that next level. I don't know many people in golf that get mad and just start killing it. Like I said, they're just not like, I'm so pissed, I'm gonna do so good now. Like I said, it's just not.
You gotta like stay reserved.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to learn to like pull it back. Or what Tiger does that most people don't realize, the finishing step to his process is they see him get mad or they see him throw a club. But that throw of the club is to release that energy and let go of that shot. You'll see the kids nowadays, because they just see it all over TV, they'll throw a club and they'll be cussing for the next like 5 holes. It's like Tiger, once he slammed that club into the ground, he let it go. And by the time he reaches his next shot, he's just worried about his next shot. So it's about learning how to manage the course, but also learning how to manage yourself. And so like what you were saying, like I said, I don't like 40 yards. If the hole's 300 yards and I want to drive it, because then I'll be right next to the green. But if I hit a solid drive, it goes about 320. So if the hole is 350, I don't want a 30-yard shot, especially if it's a front pin. I'm not trying to hit this flop shot in a very specific shot needed for a very specific instant after I just hit an amazing shot. So I just didn't get any reward off of that shot. Yeah. Versus I could hit, like you said, a shot 250 anywhere in the fairway, even in the rough. I can control that approach shot literally from 100 yards pretty much every single time on that green. So it's much more than just hitting the best shot. It's hitting the best shot at the right time. And so, like I said, there's so much more.
But playing the numbers too, right?
Oh, for sure.
So like a lot of people don't realize, like in golf, everyone wants to hit like what you're supposed to hit. Oh, well, I'm 160. Well, I'm supposed to hit a 7, right? Mm-hmm. Or I'm supposed to hit this club. That doesn't exist, right? I mean, you're dealing with wind and uphill, downhill, slope, right? I mean, there's so many factors that you have to factor in. And I tell everyone, if you could just make better decisions on the course, that'll help your game tremendously. Because believe me, just because you're a guy you're playing against or a girl you're playing against, just because they're hitting a certain club, doesn't mean that you should hit that club, right? A lot of it's mental, right?
Yeah, because you you start to forget that the goal is you against the course, because you are also playing against other competitors as well. But if you can't even beat yourself as far as your own competence level of where you know you can play, you will not be competing against other people's best on that day, because there's always going to be someone that's playing good that day. There's always going to be playing worse that day. Your goal is to try to play the best you can the most often, and when you're playing bad, and not kill your score. That's what professional golfers like the PGA Tour players and the other high levels, they do the best. There's a saying is like, you can't win the golf tournament on Thursday, but you can lose it. Like I said, you shoot 10 under, that's a pretty good start right there. You're most likely going to be in the lead. But if you shoot even the next 3 days, you're not going to win the tournament. Yeah. But I can assure you, you shoot 20 over on that first day, you lost it no matter how many under par you shoot the next couple of days, because it's just not going to happen. So it's definitely a game of controlling the peaks, but really controlling your lows. That's why U.S. Opens and the majors are such a hard challenge, because you're not going to have your best ball striking all 4 days. You're probably not even going to have it 3 days, maybe 2. So you learn how to manage okay, I'm not going so well, let's keep the damage control down so that when it comes back, I can start to take advantage again. And that's something that, most people don't think of. I literally asked my coach one day when he was playing really well. I watched him play a nationwide tour event at the time, which is the Corn Ferry now. And I go, man, I was like, you played so good today. How do you do that? He goes, that's easy. I'm hitting at the hole. I just aim at the hole. he goes, what's hard is when it's not going at the hole is how to play. He goes, that's when it's hard. He goes, people think playing good is difficult. That's when you just let it go. He goes, it's the days that I don't have it and I just want to be upset and I know I should hit this shot the way I do and it doesn't come off like that, and now I have to adjust my game plan. And he goes, those are when it's hard. He goes, everyone knows how to be good. Everyone's good shot's good.
I want to talk about 2 things, because I know some listeners probably maybe they want to get into golf or they're thinking about it, right? These 2 topics I feel are real important because they're a big part of golf. I want to talk about etiquette, okay? And I want to talk about cheating, because a lot of people cheat in golf, okay? Yeah. So let's start with etiquette, right? So for those people that don't know golf, right, what are certain etiquettes? Like one I can think of, is like standing in front of people like on the green, right? Like don't be in their vision, right? Because it can mess with them, especially if you're moving, right?
Yeah.
So what are some tips for like guys that want to get into playing golf?
Go basic. Like say I've never stepped on a golf course. Go super basic. Don't talk in someone's backswing.
Okay, yeah, things like that. So generally, like I said, it's to be considerate. Like I said, I would start off with probably just one of the most general rules is it's called pace of play. So each hole has like a suggested time limit on how long it should take you to complete. So one of like the most inconsiderate things to do is just because you're so bad, just sit on that hole way too long. And you don't realize, because you're so focused on your own game and how long and how you want to finish the hole. If you are new to golf, there's going to be probably over 50% of the holes that you're just going to have to do what they call picking it up. Just pick up the ball and move on to the next hole. Yes, you didn't finish it, but it's okay. We didn't need to see you make a 13. It's okay. Like it's not that serious. Like I said, the difference between that and 14, no one's counting. Like I said, so it's again, pace of play is a huge one because it helps continue the rest of the pace for the rest of the day. If you're slow, the group behind you is slow. In an hour from now, the tee box is going to be backed up 20 minutes. There's going to be people waiting there. They're going to ruin their whole day now because they might have had something to do after this. And so that's just to be considerate of other people's time is like the easiest one. It's like, okay, let's play at a good brisk pace. And if you can't, let's pick it up. If you need to throw it up there a couple yards, whatever. Unless you're playing a tournament, then obviously that's different. But as long as you're just out there trying to enjoy yourself, like I said, and you're up front with your group of, hey, we're not really keeping score today. We're just out here trying to learn golf. We're trying to keep up with everybody in front of us. But to go into more of the competitive aspect, kind of like as far as, like I said, like cheating and things like that, you're not hurting anyone but yourself. Like it's not. Like I said, if you say you shot this, but you didn't shoot it. Like there's nothing about it. It'd be like me, again, being like, oh, dude, I squatted 500. It's like, oh, no one's ever seen it. Yeah, dude, but I'm strong as shit. Like I said, it's like, but are you though? If you're not strong? If you're not strong, it doesn't matter because one day you'll need to lift something heavy and people will look to you like, oh, dude, this guy's just squats hella strong. We need his help. And he's over here like threw out his back, picking up his shoe. Like I said, it's not going to help.
My fridge or something. Oh yeah, come help me out.
No, exactly. So it doesn't, it's you departing from reality on that. It doesn't help anybody because most people, again, they just want the credit or the what's the word, like the representation of being a good golfer. They don't care about being good. Like I said, I And that's just, I think that's more of like a personal problem, because I train jiu-jitsu as well. And like I said, my coach wants me to come back because I took a 1.5 years off for some stomach things I was dealing with, and I'll be coming back. And everyone's like, oh man, you were going to get a belt promotion there. Like, but if you would have just kept coming for like a couple more weeks. And I was like, I literally would never want to keep going to get the belt. I just want to go so that I can be good at jiu-jitsu. Like if I had a black belt, but everyone can beat my ass, that doesn't feel good. Yeah. I'd rather have a white belt for the rest of my life, but a black belt skills. Like I said, because to everyone else, oh, this guy's got a white belt, he's nothing. But if I just throttle you every day forever, I could give two shit about the color of my belts. Like I don't care at all. Like I said, so
it's people have
it twisted all the time. They got it.
I think the only thing is though that's interesting, right? When you play like in high school, you play any other sport. I mean, you have like a referee of some sort, right? Okay, in golf, I mean, it's a gentleman's honor system, right? I mean, hey, you're playing against your partner, and then this dude's in the trees for freaking 20 minutes, and he comes, oh, I found my ball, or that's like the famous line, right?
Oh yeah.
Hey, you never believe it, man! I found the ball. I know I went in this guy's backyard, but I found it somehow.
You went in with a noodle, came out with a Pro V1.
Yeah. No, for real.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude, I would literally like mark my ball, and I would, anytime someone changed the ball, like, hey bro, what kind of ball? And then they'll say, hey, I'm gonna go try to find my ball. I said, don't worry bro, I'll come help you. Let's find this ball. Let's find this ball together, dude. Because if not, we're gonna go back to T-box.
And unfortunately, there is so many kids. I would say there's at least 1 or 2 kids per team. Like I said, even at our high school, we had 2 kids. One was a really good player. I'm not gonna say his name, obviously, but he would definitely do it when the pressure was on. He would always play not to his level because he would psych himself out, and so he would always be hitting it just crazy offline. And like you said, he'd always find his ball, and then, or if he wasn't playing well that day and he wasn't able to find his ball enough times, he would always get sick, always go into the forest part and throw up, and then withdraw. But no one would ever see him throw up. And like I said, and so. The whole honor system nowadays, people just don't have much honor. Like people do that all the time. They would rather have a withdraw on their record than like a solidified bad score.
Right.
But as a coach, if I was a college coach, I'd be like, you just quit every time you play bad.
Yeah.
I don't need you here. Like I said, I would rather you finish out the day and learn how to do your best and try to draw positive what you can, learn from the negatives, and just move on. You can't just give up every time, like I said. And that's also a big thing as people, like I said, the whole cheating, like I said, you have to learn to, you have to, as a responsibility as a golfer, for your own game not to cheat, but also if you see someone in your group cheating and you're like, I'm so much better than them, I'm beating them by 8 right now, it doesn't matter. It's not for you because there are also other kids in this tournament that are playing.
Everything
that
matters.
They're counting their score, so you have to also keep them accountable for the other people. And so,
but what's weird too is that, like, let's say like the other kid, right, who is cheating, like let's say they say, oh well, I did get a par, right? Mm-hmm. And it's your word against theirs. And then the coaches start arguing, because we've been through those situations too. I tell everyone the best thing that I used to do that kind of worked for me was to work backwards, right? So like I remember, pretty good. I was in a match and it was like a league match. And this dude said it was a par 5 and he said that he got a par, and I'm like, okay. And I told him, I said, okay, so you just 3-putted, right? Because I'm working backwards, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. I said, so you hit the green in 2, is what you're saying. And the hole was like 5, like it's 60.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I'm like, yeah. So you didn't hit the green in 2, right? So you got a 6, right? So I always work my way backwards. And that's how I told like guys on the team. And, like when I was a junior or senior, I told like the freshmen, to do that, right? Like when people start cheating, that's how you call them out. And I said, I know that you want to go to your ball, right? But if you already know you're good, you're past them, like you need to make sure that you're watching them, right? Because if you let them, do their thing, that's when weird shit happens, right?
Yeah, like
and
I said,
they magically, find something, or maybe they take a stroke and you're walking down the fairway. Sometimes it's always not good just to keep walking. Watch what your teammates are doing and your opponents. Yeah,
it's awkward. Like I said, I'm a person who doesn't necessarily shy away from, like I said, because the whole, like I said, if it was easy, everyone would do it type of thing. Like I said, I don't mind calling someone out if I have to, because it's not personal. It's just like, oh, you said you made this. You didn't though, right? Like I said, it's not personal. I don't dislike you.
Yeah.
You're just, that's not what happened. Like I said, and so it might become weird, and there's plenty of kids, because golf is an isolated sport as far as it's a very individual sport. So there's a lot of kids who are very shy that person will try to almost like bully or intimidate them to be like, I said this. It's like, unfortunately, like I said, you just have to endure the awkwardness, and it's really not that awkward because I'm not the one cheating. Like I said, it's really on you. You can't make me feel bad because you're a liar. That doesn't make sense. Like I said, and so like I said, as long as everyone is playing on the same rules, that's just the way to go. Like I said, when you're playing competitively, hey, just keep your score. Just be honest about it. You play bad, whatever. I played bad the other day too. It's all right. Like I said. Or, like I said, if you're just playing with your friends and you guys are just out there to have fun, that's going to help you keep up with the general courtesy rules of pace of play, picking up your ball. As long as you guys aren't playing for hundreds of dollars and things like that, to where you're like, oh, I'm just going to give myself this. It's like, oh, no, now you got to keep your score. And if you guys are that bad,
you'd be surprised.
You should probably be playing at Bray Creek for the middle of the fairway. Like I said, it's just like I said, it's just
that's where I play.
I love Bray Creek though.
Yeah, dog, I'm like a member there.
Six holes my favorite. I pay dues every month. But like I said, it's like I said, everyone just needs to start on the same playing field. Like I said, as far as beginners, just get a club, go to the range. My dad didn't let me go on the course. Course that used to be called Big T in Buena Park. Like I said, it closed down. That's where H Mart and everything is over there now. And he made me hit balls, I think, for just 3 months when I was 8 before he even let me go on there. And I think the first hole was like 70 yard off of mats. So even my dad, just to be like, if you can't generally hit it here at a flag, you're not going out there. And like I said, and so he just, I don't know, very procedurally like, hey, just come here, work on it and try to aim it. And then we'll take it, like I said, we'll take you to the course. And then you just learn how to develop your game from there. And yeah, like I said, it's learning how to play golf is a whole new thing too. Like I said, hitting a ball is cool, but if you hit a ball and you're aimed in the water, it's going to go in that water if you hit it good, like I said. And so
right.
There's a bunch of different things.
I think one thing you told me a long time ago, is timing, right, in the golf swing. Like you see guys do like weird shit with their swings, and it's just good timing, But we know, like playing, at a high level, when you're a better player, you can't rely on timing, right? You have to rely on sequence.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I'll never forget whenever I start playing bad, I always start to think, okay, sequence, right? Because you told me, Jeff, what's the first thing to move? The club. What's the last thing to move? Like on the downswing, the club, right? So it's a sequence of motion. That's what you have to rely on, right? Is the club moving first, then your, shoulders and arms and hips and all that good stuff. And then on the downswing, it's the exact opposite. So the swing is just a mirror, right?
Yeah.
Of what you're doing. And what really helped me out too is the way you take, like the takeaway is obviously a big flaw of mine, right? I used to roll it. I used to do weird stuff, but the way you take it back, right? If you're relaxed, like, the club will pretty much fall on the way you took it back, right? It'll come down.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
If you have the correct sequence.
Yeah.
Right.
If you get the proper, really kind of starting point there, like I said, it's one thing, like just in a very objective way of looking at it. You watch all the best players, they really hone in on their setup and takeaway like unbelievably. Like you watch them practice on a range, they got alignment sticks, they got setup stations, they got literally like their caddy checking where their head is compared to the ball. They're like making sure that their foot is, again, the same replica of what it was on the shot, whether it be they got a square back foot, open flared front foot, same or open both, like whatever it is that person does, they do it every time. And so you watch the everyday golfer practicing at the range, they literally got like 90 different setups. Like I said, they're shuffling in. One time they took a practice swing, one time they didn't take a practice swing, one time they had their glove strapped, one time they didn't. Literally, like I said, their ball position changes every time. It's what you do early on truly sets you up for success or failure. And so it's very easy to see, like I said, in other sports, which blows my mind that the everyday golfer still doesn't grasp what the great players do as far as their setup. Like I said, you watch someone like squatting at a high level. If they're about to try to squat 800 pounds, they're under that bar and in that cage area for like 30 seconds, like shuffling in correctly. They're checking their foot placement. They're literally feeling it touch the same part of their skin and muscle where it sits every single time.
They fucking know this is the way I practice and this is how I'm going to continue to succeed and
exactly.
excel.
And that's so, it just, again, just how we said it right now, it just makes sense. Like I said, but every other person is just like doesn't check their grip. They have no idea where their ball is. They're like, oh, I kind of just put it here sometimes, but yesterday it was working pretty good over here, so I tried that. Like they have no like consistency in it, but they want to play consistent. Like I said, and that just doesn't make sense. And so it's unbelievable the difference of practice habits between a good player and a bad player. You could literally walk down a range, and if I just had good players set up to the ball and waggle a couple times, and then, like I said, Steve or Bob that's just out there practicing, you'd be like, oh, they're trash and they're really good. They don't have to swing. You can just tell who's good. Like I said, and that's literally the biggest thing. Like I said, it's just constantly telling. Like I said, there's so many telltale signs of who's good and not by their habits alone. And so, like I said, it's unbelievable that how bad people practice and how important the beginning and their setup is, and they'll never want to focus on it because it's not fun. It's not the most glorious or enjoyable part of the practice.
I think a big flaw of mine too, like, starting to play was my practice habits. You just go to the range and hit balls. Just go to the range and hit balls. Just grab any club and you have to practice with a purpose, right? You have to really, like one thing that I used to do when I was playing competitively was I used to track out of like 10 swings, like how far I would hit my irons, right? Like a target, I would, scope it out and see how many times I could hit that target based on how far it was. So then I would write down, okay, on a normal 8-iron, like not trying to swing hard, how far am I really hitting it? So I always had that in my notebook. So whenever I was on the course, I would say, okay, there's no wind, it's pretty calm, smooth 8, and then I would look at my smooth 8, right? And I would look at, okay, this is how far it goes. So I would calculate it correctly, right? That's one thing that helped me. And I was really like even with putting, like I was what they call a line putter, right? So like once I saw the line, like I just try to aim for that line, and I didn't really look at the hole anymore. Like I knew how far I needed to hit it or putt it, downhill, uphill, and I would just try to hit the line. And that helped me a lot too, like even with putting. So I wasn't so much like trying to look at the hole and trying to make it, because I think you told me too a long time ago that I shouldn't even look up. I should just try to make a good stroke. And a lot of good players, you see them, like they just try to make a good stroke and then they look.
Yeah, when they hit it their head, like literally Tiger did this drill probably still does it. When he hits a putt, he's probably puts himself anywhere from like 5 to 10 feet away, and he doesn't even look up. He listens out of his left ear to hear if it went in or it didn't. Like I said, because he's just in the routine and the process of giving himself the best chance to make that putt. So he's read the putt, aligned himself up, knows the speed he needs to hit it. He's just going to stick to it, and the ground's going to do what it does. Like I said, there's literally so many things that are shown nowadays. You can literally set it up on this little thing called like the perfect putter. It's like looks like a little pendulum, like a roller coaster kind of like little thing that you kind of like can set up there, and it'll release the ball for you. And that thing's perfect. It's just a little roller coaster. You put the ball up, and this is how far it should go, and you let it go, and it'll make one. You'll let 4 other ones go. Only 2 will go in. The ground's imperfect. Like it wobbles. Like I said, so you can only do what you can do. Like I said, so Tiger's like, did it go in? Didn't go in? Okay, I'm going to repeat the same process. Look at the hole, line myself up, do my 2 strokes, give it one last look, and then once he hits, he just keeps his head down, and if he hears it, it went in and it didn't. And so
the best players, man, they're just boring. Right?
Oh, that's literally what you want to be. Like you want to be the most boring ever, which is why everyone that doesn't play golf, they're like, I don't want to watch this shit on TV. It's so boring. I was like, that's why they're so good. Like, because it's not fun looking for your shit in the lake. It's not, like I said, it's not, it's like I said, it's the most entertaining because you're like, oh, I want to see them hit it in these trees. I want to see them do a 6 shot out of there and then have to do this flop shot. It's like, all that's entertaining, but it's stressful and it's like not going to make you better at golf. And so it's, like I said, the best players are boring. Like I said, that's how it is almost in every sport. Like I said, when things are going really well and someone throws a no-hitter, that's just boring because ain't nobody got a hit all day. Yeah. Like I said, it's boring, but like I said, it's cool to watch because people can understand and appreciate it. But in golf, for some reason, there's not that understanding of like, wow, it's going so well. This is so like boring to watch right now. It's actually really awesome. Like I said, but
it's so true. It is so boring. Like even like the NBA, right? Let's say like you have one team that's just dominating. They're up by 30 points at the half. Like at that point, they're going to bring in, the second string, whatever, and like the backups. And then it's just like a boring game from then on out. It's like,
exactly. But it's because they were doing so good. Like I said, and that's, everyone always thinks everything should be like the most fun. Like I said, it's like I said, a lot of, like some of the little kids I teach. Like I said, I was just talking to my student Tim about it because his daughter, she's such a prime example of like a very good student. She just started with me. She's like a little girl. She's only 7, but she's like just a very good little student. And like I said, my time with her is awesome. She's a very good listener. And she's like, it's kind of hot. Can I get some water? And I was like, oh yeah, it's hot. Get some water. It's like 90 degrees out here. But it didn't make her not want to practice. She just wanted to get some water so she can come right back and keep working at it. It didn't affect her like what she was going to do, which is try to get better at golf. A lot of these other kids are like, this is boring. I don't want to do this. What should I do? I'm like, I don't know. Probably not come here again. Like I said, like you're at the wrong place for this. Like this isn't not a daycare. I was like, and I will explain that to them. I was like, golf. I was like, when you came to me for lessons, I was like, what do you want to do? I was like, you want to be good at golf, right? I was like, sometimes golf will be boring to be good. I was like, if you can have boring or difficult practice here and put in hard work, when you go play, then you can have all that fun that you've been wanting because you can have control over your golf ball, control of your routine, control of your emotions. And now you can just go out there and enjoy all the benefits. Versus all you want to do here is just have fun and not care when you go out there. Now you're going to be upset and unhappy all day. Like I said, and so there's going to be hard work and difficulty put in somewhere. And I'd rather mine be on the range when it doesn't matter than on the course so I can go enjoy myself and play well. And so it's all about literally just being able to do things that make you successful. And it's just not always going to be fun. Like I said, it's one of my practice partner, like I said, who I would consider, like I said, the person I practiced with the most when I was trying to make it at, like I said, the best I could be, was also a very good ball striker. So like me and him had very opposite games at the same time because we were both good ball strikers. But mine has always been, I've seen, if the flag is just somewhere on the left-hand side, my brain like starts to see a draw working in towards it. If the pin's on the front, I'll see like a high fade that lands and kind of spins back toward it. Like I don't have in my mind just on repeat one shot, and I just kind of keep placing that shot over and over different places. Mine is like I absorb the hole in front of me, and then my body will like want to fit my strategy into that. And so he was just unbelievably straight off the tee and everywhere else, but he was just, again, kind of just the same shot over and over. And so he was the only person I know that was up when I was up, when it was like we were at the course 6:30. We'd be chipping at Black Gold literally in Yorba Linda to like 11:30 for like 5 hours, and we didn't even realize it. We'd just see same people go tee off and then be finishing 18th, and like, you guys are still here? We're like, I guess I didn't even know it's been 5 hours. We were just chipping, and we'd go have lunch, we'd come back, and then we'd putt, and then we'd have up and down contests, and we'd hit, and then we'd go get dinner, and then we'd go to Coyote Hills and hit for 3 more hours. It's just like a whole day thing.
That's
but
crazy.
All we cared about was getting better. Like we never were like, oh man, it's been 12 hours. We were just like, we need more sunlight. Like I said, like it was just like, it was all how it was. Like I said, and that's how every good person at anything ever was. Like I said, Kobe, I can't remember how many shots he used to make or free throws he used to make, but he was just like, oh, I'm going to make this many. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to make this many, but if it's 5 hours, I got to go home. No, if it takes longer, it takes longer. If it's faster, then lucky me. Like I said, it's all about the result they wanted. They did not care about anything else, and that's why they ended up being successful, because they're just going to do what it takes. And most people just don't want to do that. I find myself saying that all the time, but most people just don't want to do what it takes. And
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, most people.
It's just weird. I don't know why. It's like you can't want to be successful, but like don't do the things successful people do, and then be like, I don't know why I suck. I'm like, I could tell you why you suck. Like it's pretty easy to tell you why. Like I said.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's just the world that we live in, man. I think social media has something to do with it. You know, people like to flex on social, and you know, they like to put themselves in a certain light. You know, that they're doing something. You know, so I think that everyone likes the output that they put out there, right? But really, it's not happening behind closed doors, you know. And we see that a lot with like influencers, quote unquote. Even I'm sure you see with golf, people with big followings, and like, oh, bro, like. That dude is like,
there's a lot of YouTube coaches that will do their videos only from the face on. So like they're recording it this way because the shots go that way. They'll hit it and they'll be like, that was pure. I'm like, you then healed that. I could hear it on the video. Like I said, like I could hear that shot was not good, and I could see your motion and it was not awesome. But literally, people literally like hype their own shots up. They'd be like, oh, so pure, and I'm like, damn. Like I said,
they need a second camera.
I was like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, and so do the people watching you on YouTube, they're just less trash than you, so they think you're awesome because you're telling them how awesome you are. Like I said, and like you said, it's very much a thing that stems out much further than golf, and it kind of again seeps into every part of people's life. They don't understand that I would much rather be happy and people think I have a sad life for whatever reason, but me actually be happy. Versus other people think I'm happy, but I put all my effort onto 2 posts and my life's actually like sad as shit. Like I said, and I'm unhappy. I have a shitty marriage. My kids are pieces of shit. But in the photo, hey, we're in Mammoth in the snow. We're all smiling. Like I said, damn, like that ain't it. Like that ain't it for me. I'd rather actually be happy. And I could care less what you think about my life. If it's actually what I want, I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like I said, and that's why. It's kind of a tangent, definitely off for golf. I think it's so funny, all those filters though, like on Instagram. Like you want people to think you look like this and then meet you in real life and be like, that's not the same face. Like I said, I was like, you would rather look normal or whatever in the photo, and then people see you in life and like, oh dude, you're way better looking in person. Who wants the opposite?
People try way too hard to like please other people for whatever reason.
And no one cares about you. Like no one cares. I can't remember who I heard this at a very young age, but people would be like, they don't care about you. Like they don't care. Like people are like, oh man, well this person's gonna think I did. No, they won't. No, they won't. Like I said, they're not. Like because students will, when I tell them like, oh, you should go play on the course and learn how to play. They're like, but I'm so bad. I'm like, yeah, if you're bad, like I said, pick up your ball or pick up the pace. But they're gonna be like, I'm gonna embarrass myself. Everyone's gonna think I'm such a loser. I'm like, most of them are trash too. You're just like slightly more trash. I was like, but they're also only care about their game. Yeah. Like if you made a hole in one and they made a triple, they're going to go home telling their wife how pissed they are they made the triple, not about how you made a hole in one. They don't care about you. It doesn't matter. Like I said, you're just a person that happens to be playing golf next to them. You're not playing golf with them in their head. Golfers are like so narcissistic in like a good way that you have to be. It's just about you and their game. So like what you're doing doesn't affect me. Like I said, you have the worst or best round of your life, and I'm having, again, the opposite. I don't feel good because you played good. I feel like shit still. And if I play good and you played bad, sorry, man, I killed it today. Like I said, it doesn't matter. So most people just don't care about your life that much. So to like put so much effort into putting up this facade of being a certain person, like legit, no one cares. And no one cares at all. Like I said, I like see a lot of quotes, and there's again a bunch of BS ones on Instagram, but there's a really good one that's like, the job that you're literally willing to stress yourself out for and give your life for and put yourself in, like, again, you sleep not enough, you don't eat healthy because of it. If you were to die, your position would be on Indeed the next day. They don't care about you. But your family who loves you and yourself who you need to take care of yourself and everybody, those are the things that you need to be
That's the
prioritizing.
Shit that matters,
Exactly. So people just have a very skewed view of those things.
Perception,
and it seeps into everything. Like I said, that's why they're
not. Yeah, I mean, like, I thought that too when I started posting on social, but at the end of the day, man, it's my story, right? It's what works for me. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I had people commented when I first started posting, they would like make these weird comments and stuff, and I was like, dude, you can make your own channel, you can talk all about your life, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really care what you do, you know, this is what works for me, this is my story, this is like my channel, so what you think, I really don't care, you know? And once I got that wrapped around my head, I just kept posting more. It really
do what serves you best. Like that's all that really matters.
And that's literally like what's important. Like it's like you said, it's like your guys' channel. Like what you guys do here, you guys talk about things or address topics or whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. People are like, oh, I think they should have talked about this. Okay, go talk about it on your own podcast, dog. Like I said, like it's fine. I get it. Like I said, like it's just what it is. Like it's truly the person's thing, which is why, like, to me, till this day, one of the most comical things is a dislike button on YouTube.
That shit's so annoying, man.
Don't watch the fucking video. Just exit the video and get the fuck off.
Just
like,
leave.
To be like, I don't agree that you think these 3 are the best Adidas shoes ever made. Then don't wear those bitches. Like, I don't know. Like just don't. Who cares? That's their opinion. Like, you don't have to agree with everything everybody thinks.
Yeah.
Like. It is the weirdest thing that everyone also thinks their opinion matters. This person is just sharing how they feel. How you feel is so irrelevant. Yep. Like I said,
keep scrolling.
It's literally, no, exactly. Just keep moving on. It doesn't matter. Like the fact that there's people that legit leave hateful comments, like they'll be like, oh, my niece doing cartwheels. They'll be like, my niece is 3 and she could do backflips. Great for both of your nieces. Who gives a shit? Like you don't need to be hating on some other chick. It has nothing to do with you. Just
Everyone's trying to like one up you.
Yeah.
Always. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't know when people became so concerned in thinking that they mattered that much.
Yeah,
Like I said, I don't post a lot on my Instagram. I swear I'm always going to, and I just never get to. It's been like 5 years. You would think I'd be on it at some point, but I don't, because I literally am so invested in like my actual learning, my actual time investment, whether it be nutritional, exercise science, golf, anatomy, whatever it is that I feel like can best serve my actual clients that pay me, and I invest my time in them and they invest their time in me as well, to get them the best versus like get them the best they can be versus again trying to make this video and not being able to do an actual lesson and like making these times. Like, it's just, I want the actual results. I would rather have 50 students who are all amazing than 1,900 suck. Like, I don't want a bunch of money. Like I said, yeah, I have to charge for a service because that's just how life works.
Right.
But I'm not doing it because I'm trying to just make this infinite amount of money. I'm trying to make as many good golfers as I can and to build a foundation around what I believe and what I know to be true and make the best golfers I can and have them be good without being in pain in 20 years or have them being this. And to like not have to shy away from anything. Like, I want to be very transparent with what I do, how I do it, and go, hey, like, I'm going to make you guys the best I can. I'm going to make you guys not have any injuries. If you guys do get injured, I would never want it to be from the way in which you move in your golf swing. Yeah, we're going to have some wear and tear on anything. You could have the best form ever in squatting. If you squat 800 pounds too much, yeah, your hips are going to, like I said, your joints are going to have some wear and tear. It's going to happen. It's going to happen way faster if you squat like shit too. But if we can at least prepare you to be the best you can be, that's what I want to do. Is I want to make healthy, good golfers that can play literally for like the rest of their life. And I want them to be smart enough to one day, if they wanted to teach golf, the ones who, again, invest as much time as I did, they could. The ones who just want to be good golfers. And again, and just no matter the situation, they never lose faith or trust in what we did and what we do, so they can always have somewhere to draw back off of. Like, that's my goal. And so, yeah, me kind of pleasing the world of social media is not like a priority of mine. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
I just don't care, to be honest. Like,
That's awesome, man. Sounds like you're looking to like leave a legacy, right? Like, you want.
That's the hope. Like I said, is to one day people to be like, hey, this guy taught me all I know. And when I'm far, again, been off this earth for a while, there's going to be a teacher that, or a student of mine that was once, again, just a player, and I taught him enough to where everyone's like, wow, this guy is such an amazing coach. And then he can look at me or refer to me like how I refer to my coaches. Like, a lot of people who only know me, like, man, you're like, we're a miracle worker. And I'm like, you should have seen my coaches. Like I said, like, that's how it'll always be in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never surpass them in my head, no matter what happens. Like I said, one of my coaches, Craig, like I said, one of his students just won the U.S. Women's Open this last weekend.
Yeah.
That's who.
No way.
That's who won. Like I said,
shit, yeah.
Yeah, Allison Corpus. That's who just won. That's one of his students.
Yeah.
And like I said, most people probably won't know that till right now. Like I said, like, because he's like that too. He doesn't have social media, he doesn't have everything.
Yeah, bro.
He's just old school. Like I said, he'll be, when he was out here in Wilmington, like I said, at Harbor Golf Center, you'd go there. It was AstroTurf, like the like
craziest
legit,
range, bro.
like legit, like
the net was like had a big ass hole in it.
Yeah, like legit, the most ghetto ass range. But in this 4-stall part where he taught, just high level player all day, and that's just speaks the truth of the volumes of what he reaches. Is you look up in a magazine, best golf coaches, you'll never hear his name. You talk to some of the best coaches in the world, they all know his name. And so that's who I want to be. I don't care if I have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and all the YouTube people are trash. I want to be the person where people are like, oh man, hey, you taught my friend and they play D1 golf, or they're awesome and they speak really highly of you. And that's just how it's been, and that's how I want it to continue. Like, if you know,
you know type shit.
And that's I like that. That's how I want my business to be. Yeah, it's a little outdated technically. Like I said, yeah, I can run ads, I can do this, but as far as what I want to achieve, I will still be able to do what I want to do with that mentality, because I will work hard enough to where that still works for me. Like I said, and so it's like I said, I really do just aspire to be like my coaches. Like I said, there's low key, there's no ads, there's no business cards, or like
no BS.
Yeah, you want to drop 10 strokes in 10 minutes? It's like, yeah, because that shit ain't happening. Like I said, there's so many ads like that, and it's $3. It's $3 to get the secret 100,000 people just paid for the secret. You just made $300,000. They don't care about your improvement. They just want it. And that's how all the people get big, is they just write these programs or secret way to never slice again. It's just like literally like the statement itself is a lie. Like you can slice less. You'll slice it again. I can assure you, everybody will slice it again. Like I said, but again, to know how to truly address your problems at like a wholesome level is what I want you guys all to be able to do. I just want you guys to be good and just like know what's up and just be able to fix it, like I said. And so it's
I think, you know, just the reverse perspective of that, right, is there's a lot of people out there, right, that could benefit from what you teach. You know what I'm saying? I know I try to push you, you know, into social media, but that's because I believe, you know, because I see a lot of guys that, you know, especially the last 5-10 years, that have blown up, right? And I'm like, dude, man, they're nowhere near Joe's level, right? And I just feel like there's a big need for someone like yourself, right, to put out what you believe in and what's your truth, right? Because I feel that you would change a lot of people's lives.
That's at the same time, though, I understand what you're saying, because there's no possible way you can service 50,000 people at the highest level, right? Like you can't look at the way they're built, the way their anatomy is, and say, hey, okay, you do this, and then the next person, you do this. Like there's no possible way for you to achieve and build the high level people that you really
the hard
want.
Part. Like I said, that seems to be the difficult part now, that the level I'm reaching of busyness and things like that.
Because you're like an artist, right? Like you're trying to be like, make this student, right, like a certain way, you know, and like I get it, like you kind of lose that control if you're trying to reach like the masses, you know. But at the same time, even like, let's say you were to come out with like a course of somewhat, you know, based on the principles of what you teach, right? I feel like that would be beneficial for someone to attain that knowledge than them to go watch some jackass on YouTube. You know?
For sure. No,
you know what I'm
and that's the hard balance that I'm kind of getting to the point now to where I have people, like I said, like you, who are always trying to help me to kind of like see where I can kind of branch off into. One of my students, he's like I think it's like the director of marketing for like a worldwide golf shop, so like Roger Dunn's and stuff like that. And so he's very good at that stuff. He is a really good photographer. He does all the drone work and stuff like that. He does it for some of the big companies. He's very good at like putting himself out there to get in the positions to do it. And he's really good at what he does. And he also is like, you always trying to kind of put me out there and just go, hey man, you got to give this a try. And it's like, for me, I don't know why it's just like so overwhelming, but it's also more of the fact of, like I said, I'm trying to find that balance of being able to reach the most people too, again, for you, like what you were saying, to be able to reach the people that are lost because they're in that endless loop of BS that's out there. So I can kind of help bring them to the light in that way to save them trouble and help more people. And then I'm also, when I think about it on the other end, it's hard because I'm like, I could say the same sentence in a course, and if people purchase the course, 10 different people took 10 different things from it. Like just the way their brain interpreted it there. And so that's where it's hard, is because golf, one of the biggest phrases that we use is feel versus real, is like, hey man, you got to feel like you're doing this to like actually look like how you think you're looking. So if I put in a course, hey, this is the feeling and this is what you want to do, 10 different people, they got 10 different feels. So 9 of those people are like, man, this guy just fucking sucks. I played like the worst I ever played. It's like, you didn't do any of the shit I just told you to do, like I said. And so I want to be able to try to figure out a way. And that's for me, just because I do wholesomely care about people. I don't care if a bunch of them purchased it. If only 10 people purchased it, but they all got good, that's success for me. That's what I wanted. I wanted them to get better, and I wanted them to know that I can help them get better. And so I got to figure out a way. That's kind of where I'm at right now. That's where I spend some of my extra time right now, trying to figure out how I can make that happen. Because it's a little bit difficult. Probably a little bit easier nowadays with videos and stuff, because I can demonstrate things as well, and I can kind of show some, again, things along with like the verbiage and the explanations. One thing that I might be interested in doing, or like need to like kind of look more into setting it up, is kind of like webinar type things like that, because people can legitimately ask questions like in the moment there, and I can clarify things, or if they do have questions, I can answer them there. Like I said, there's a real popular coach that's helping a lot of people, like his name's Scott Cowks on Instagram, and like I said, he does like courses like that, and they're like live, like again, kind of
he goes live on social media.
And so like he can help people like do certain things, and you pay for the courses. I've taken a couple, and again, a lot of it is just to kind of give you some information, give you a platform, and then again, you can ask questions at the end. You have like objective information to kind of sift through at the end there. And so, yeah, like I said, that's where I'm trying to kind of get to, because I feel like a pretty unique outlook on golf. Like I said, it's not what most people are doing. I feel like I said, as far as just my approach to it and how I connect certain things and how certain things are important. And a lot of it was from how I was taught. And it's just, most people have so many questions on so many things because they don't know two things. Like I said, and it's just what it is. Like I speak in analogies unintentionally, like all day. Like that's just how I think. Someone's like, hey man, how do I control my blood sugar? How do I lose weight? How do I make my toes not numb? How do I stop getting out of breath? It's like, work out more and eat better. Like you don't have to worry about all the other 100 things. You do those 2 things, a lot of your problems will go away. And so that's how I like to view myself as a coach. It's like, hey, when you can understand how to grip the ball and set up to it and just work on your takeaway, literally you're going to be fine. Like that'll be it. So yeah.
So anticipating your course, more education from you, people out there wanting to learn more from you, where can we follow you online right now?
So on Instagram, it's at Ovalle Golf Performance. That's where mainly I post most of my stuff. You can book me on there as well. Like I have a scheduling a scheduling app there that people can reach out to me there. People message me, text me, like I said, and all that information's on there. That's pretty much the main way.
Awesome.
People reach me unless you know somebody that knows me. Like I said, other than
we'll
that,
include a link to that in the show notes down below, so you guys will be able to see that. I have one last question for you before we let you go, man. If we can ask every guest this question. Yeah. If we can go back to a time in your life, right? Let's just probably call it like 21-year-old Joe, working like probably 6-7 days a week on the course, picking up freaking beer cans, busting your ass. If you can go back to that time, knowing everything you know now, what would be one thing that you would tell yourself?
Honestly, it's to not get distracted in things that seem like shortcuts. Like I said, as far as, again, just like, oh, okay, this seems like this could... Yeah, for me, like I said, the distractions personally were just... Again, like, oh, let's take some time and try to learn this information because it is, again, a popular thing right now. Let's look into it. And it's not that I was ever going to fully abandon what I do, because that's just not in me there. But if it seems wrong, it's wrong. Like I said, just kind of let it be. I don't have to know why other people think what they think. Like I said, and that's like a hard thing for me till this day to learn, is like, sometimes people are just the way they are. Like I said, I'm like if someone looks like they're in need, I need to help them out kind of person. Sometimes people don't want to be helped and they just kind of want to stay where they're at. So for me, it would have been just to focus my attention on achieving where I want to go and just really stick to it. Don't get distracted by really, again, whether it be people or surroundings that like kind of aren't there, like I said, to kind of help you. So for me, I just kind of stay on the track you want to be. People who are going to be there for you later in life, they're still going to be there 10 years later. Like I said, I've known Jeff for 10 years now and done nothing but ever try to help me in my career. There's been plenty of people that don't always enjoy other people's successes, and those people will just fall off as time goes on. So just don't let people waver you from where you want to be, pretty much, like I said. And
awesome.
Absolutely.
Sounds good, man. Focus on what you know to be true. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joseph Ovalle. We'll have
Thanks,
all
Joe.
the links down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. If you have any questions, we'll relay to Joe as well. Thank you guys so much.
Follow us on social media. See you guys later.